Hey friends, Barkey Dog here, back with another movie review. In this one, I'm talking about a movie playing right now at the theater. I know, right? I don't usually do that, but here we are. So this time, we're talking about Michael from 2026. Our story goes like this. It's the 1960s. Joseph Jackson is a steel mill worker and a man who brooks no nonsense. He realizes his kids have some talent, and he forges them into what would become the superstar group, the Jackson 5. And the youngest of the group is Michael Jackson, who, after years of abuse by his dad, struggles to break free and become a star and a man in his own right. The king of pop. That's pretty much the story right there. So, a lot of people have been crapping on this movie, and I felt compelled to chime in, which is why I'm reviewing a movie playing right now. I saw this the other day, and there are 3 standout performances in this picture. First is Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson, the steel mill worker from Gary, Indiana, who drove his kids so hard they became the Jackson 5. Domingo is top tier as Joe Jackson. And then there's Giuliano Valdi, who plays the young Michael Jackson in his formative years. Child actors are almost always kind of annoying, but I like Giuliano as Jackson. He carries off the ABC 1, 2, 3 era of Michael Jackson surprisingly well. And then we have Michael's real-life nephew, Jafar Jackson, as Michael himself. He's channeling Michael in a way we rarely ever see in a biopic. And this guy must have really worked his ass off, because you'd swear you were watching Michael Jackson himself doing some of those dance moves. He's that good. I like the mom, too, played by Nia Long. I thought she was really quite good in this. Most of the movie covers Michael's breakout period between his first album through Thriller and finishes up with a performance of his hit song, Bah! Over the course of the film, we gain some insight into Michael. We learn things not widely known. For example, he had to fight to get his videos on MTV. That's right, Michael Jackson had to fight to have his videos played on MTV. Can you imagine? Wow. We see his early influences, which included Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire. His interactions with Quincy Jones and others who helped shape his career. We see how Michael crafted his songs and what his process looked like. We see the first time he moonwalks across a stage, and they even recreate the Thriller video. Wow. And yes, we also see the accident during the making of that Pepsi commercial that ultimately led to Michael going further down the rabbit hole of weirdness. One complaint I've heard is that the movie is a love letter to Michael Jackson rather than a hard-hitting expose of him. And that's not an unfair point. It was, after all, made in conjunction with the family estate. So things are a little sanitized, perhaps. Joe Jackson was indeed an abusive father, and while we do see some of that early on, for the bulk of the movie, Joe is just more kind of menacing, kind of a bully. Janet Jackson didn't want to participate in the film, apparently, and she's nowhere to be seen in it. LaToya is there, but only in the background. The other members of the Jackson 5 are ciphers, placeholders. We never learn anything about them as individuals. Well, it is, after all, Michael's story, not theirs. The movie also doesn't cover some things you'd think it would, such as Michael's turns in The Wiz, or Captain EO, or his famous Super Bowl halftime show. We do see Michael visiting kids in hospitals, and celebrities do that sort of thing all the time. He's shown as a celebrity being cool, and We never see anything untoward in that line. Mostly Michael comes off as a bit of a plaster saint, never really being wrong about anything. But while the picture is kind of sanitized, we do get to see a hint as to why he became so weird in later years. The movie doesn't explicitly cover that, but we see some of the things beginning to germinate that made him that way. And yet, despite these shortcomings, the movie delivers on its promise. We get to see the rise of Michael Jackson, the greatest pop star of all time. And it does it very well. So, if the movie is good, why do all these critics say it's not? Well, I suspect it has to do with these critics themselves and who they are. Many of them strike me as, if not being Gen Z, as being millennials. The generation who created cancel culture. In many ways, you'd think Michael Jackson would be their hero. A guy who was, frankly, sort of androgynous, even kind of feminine in a way. A guy who got bullied by an abusive parent, holding him back. A guy who defied conventions and pushed social justice and helping the downtrodden. And he was probably on the spectrum. But no, they see Michael Jackson as problematic. Not just because of the allegations against him, but because he worked hard enough to become a superstar through sheer grit, determination, talent, and merit. Things the terminally online lack. He was also of the previous generation, and you'll notice these people tend to condemn generations that came before theirs as the source of all their present-day ills. But never their own generation, which they see as evolved and perfect. So, this movie is no good, they say. You can't show appreciation for Michael Jackson's talent because in their view, that's like approving what he got accused of. Whether it was true or not doesn't matter. Not to them. The accusation is enough. Read the headline, but don't click on it and read the article. This movie is focused on Michael Jackson's rise to stardom and how he got there, not what came afterwards. And despite what these critics say, that's a story worth telling. The real weirdness came later, when Jacko goes wacko, as one tabloid put it. His overuse of plastic surgery led to that weird, almost Joker-like mask of a face. His skin took on this greenish-gray pallor. That odd friendship with Liz Taylor. Remember that? And, of course, the allegations that he had, shall we say, an over-fondness for children, which, combined with everything else, pretty much derailed his career. Personally, I never thought Michael Jackson liked girls. I never got the sense, really, that he went the other way either. In some ways, he just seemed to be a perpetual child with no interest in more adult things like sexy times. And true, he was kind of spacey towards the end. It's also true that he liked kids, but how much did he like them? Did he cross a line, or was he just someone who saw himself as a child and wanted to be around children to feel like he was one of them? Were the people who accused him of nefarious activities just opportunists trying to cash in? Only they know for sure. Michael didn't help himself by being so objectively weird. He made it all too easy for people to believe the worst about him. Michael wound up being canceled even before the rise of cancel culture. Can you imagine if he got his start in the 90s? Working hard and reinventing a whole cultural landscape would have made him a prime target to take down. Even without the later allegations, there's no way that he wouldn't have been canceled by the screaming memes on social media. A celebrity head to hang on the wall. And make no mistake, that's what these critics are doing. Retroactively trying to cancel Michael Jackson all over again. He's a villain, they say, best forgotten. He got canceled and should always remain so. Once canceled, forever canceled. That's the rule. And that's why they don't want you to see this movie, or enjoy it, or remember how awesome Michael Jackson was as a performer. In real life, Michael Jackson was a flawed human being. His whole life was spent in search of a father figure that would give him the love and respect we all deserve. Not finding that, he instead focused on becoming more and more like Peter Pan, the boy who never grew up. That's where a lot of that plastic surgery came in. While the picture may not be perfect, if we're honest, few things in life are. For my part, in spite of it being a bit sanitized and skipping over events I would have liked to have seen, I enjoyed the picture. Yes, there is a lot of music in it, but unlike what these critics claim, it's not just a 2-hour music video. The movie has solid direction, a well-crafted sense of time and place in its production values, some standout performances, and Jafar Jackson is simply amazing here. So I'm giving Michael 3 1/4 paws up. Well worth the price of admission to see this one in the theater. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.